Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with a Journalist, brought to you by the team at One Pitch. Are you looking for a more efficient way to find and pitch the right journalists? Head over to our website at onepitch.co to learn more. On this episode, we chat with Gabriella Ulloa, a freelance journalist whose work has been featured in Architectural Digest, New York Magazine, the New York Times, Refinery 29, and more. Listen in for insights about her evolving approach to managing a busy inbox, wearing multiple media hats, and her system of labels for staying mostly organized. Enjoy!
Well, welcome everybody. We're here once again. Coffee with the Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger. I'm a publicist. I do a lot of comms thing. Ooh, I wrote a book. Hey, here it is right here. Oh my gosh. So all the things we do, and we do this particular show at now number episode 260 something, or I don't, maybe we're past 300. Don't even know at this point. Don't even know. To help publicists, communicators, have better relationships with our journalists, freelancer, editor friends that are out there, because we all need to work together. So that's what we want to do. So with us today, coming live from New York with her fabulous glasses from Ray-Bans, love it, is Gabriella Ulloa. Did I get it?
Ulloa, close.
Ulloa.
Ulloa.
Gabriella Ulloa, who is a
Mhm.
freelance journalist with Architectural Digest and the New York Times and Refinery 29 and Domino and a bunch of other things. And she also has a YouTube show. Welcome, Gabriella.
Thank you so
you're
much for having me. I'm
Yes,
so happy to be here. Thank you.
yes. So
Great to
tell
be
us,
here.
how is your inbox?
Honestly clearer than normal. I'm trying to become a zero
Gonna be
inbox
zero.
person.
This is the biggest slay, if you ask me.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Now you
Okay.
said trying, so what's
Trying.
happening?
Well, I used to be a zero inbox person. When I started my career, I was the assistant to the editor in chief at Architectural Digest, and I didn't really have I had to stay on top of everything. So I was very much a zero inbox type of
Yes.
person back then. Now, juggling so many different hats, I it gets tough. It gets tough to keep it on 0. I'm really trying to rely on labels more, and I do have my labels, but I have to see the number to remember to go back to it.
Oh, so yeah, you can't just file with the label. You got to see
Mhm.
like, oh, 19 with that label. Yeah, see.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
yes, I understand. I I cannot do the labeling thing because I'm like, you're just putting it away somewhere, like in a drawer. It's still in the drawer.
Right. It's in a drawer. But you know what? Maybe I have to schedule in the way that I time block my
Okay.
calendar in an
Okay.
interesting way again because I juggle a lot of different things. And
Hmm.
so I'll have days that they're writing days or they're pitching days, whatever. So maybe I just need to slot into the calendar and just say check labels and go through.
Maybe. Okay, so what are the labels?
Okay. We have a lot. We have a lot. We have pitch and
Okay.
then parentheses inbound.
Okay.
And then I have pitches that are outbound that I'm pitching out. We have different categories. We have home
Oh,
pitches,
okay. Okay.
because I still write a ton for Architectural Digest. We have wellness/mental health
Yep.
category in there,
Okay.
and then for my show, irregardless, I have something in there,
Okay.
and then I randomly have. I just have a bunch of old ones that I have to clear out, so I can't even recall which ones because those are the main ones that I really use, and then I prioritize.
Okay. Okay.
I need to go through it. This is giving me a good reminder that I need to go back to my assistant intern roots and do a deep
Yes.
clean.
So you don't ever delete.
Oh, I delete.
Oh, you delete. Okay, so you were deleted because so it's either getting delete or it's getting a label.
It's getting well, or you'll just get unread. If it's
Oh, yeah.
someone where I'm like, okay, maybe I'll come back to this at some point, or we could like circle back at some point in time, I won't delete you. The ones that I delete are the types of pitches that I get where I'm like, why is my name on this listserv that you're sending this out to?
Yeah, and you know it's a list serve, and you're like, oh,
'Cause I'm like, in my life, have I written a story about, like, fishing? You know? Like, why am I receiving this?
yeah.
Those usually end up in the trash.
Yep. Okay. Good. Good to hear. What about what you want to see right now, pitch wise?
Mm, okay. A couple of things. When it
Okay.
comes to home design, because I do get a lot of pitches for home because, again, I was Architectural Digest full time, and I still write for them, and I've written for Domino. Um, I love a home tour pitch where the actual homeowner is very involved in the creative process because I find for me personally, it makes the best type of story. Sure, there's plenty of incredible designers out there that we're gonna interview as well because they're attached to the story naturally if there's a designer attached to the project.
Mhm.
But I find when there's that duo of the homeowner was really involved in that creative process with the designer, best type of stories
Ooh,
that
okay.
I've personally got to work on.
Gotcha.
Um, I'm always looking for stories that are interesting people that we need to know about. I think people that are just moving culture forward in a cool way, whether it's an up and coming artist,
Yeah.
talent of some sort, um, especially in the Latino community. Both my parents are Cuban immigrants.
When I
I grew
married.
up in Miami. Yep. So always looking for the Latinos out there. And I would say those are my two big ones. Ooh, and then I love just like a cultural zeitgeist moment, especially in the dating world.
Ooh, okay.
Mhm.
Say
Yep.
more. Say more.
I've written a few fun pieces when it comes to dating, and I'm just fascinated by the way that different generations approach dating and the way that we talk about it on TikTok, and even just the differences in my own personal life versus
Yeah.
when I was single, the way my outlook was versus in a relationship. And I just love taking a poll and seeing where people are at and doing a quick pulse check on it. So, hearing from different dating experts or just like trends that are popping up on social media that we're like, why are we talking about this? I
Yes.
want to know
Okay.
about it
What's one of the things of late where you're like, why? Why? Why are we talking about this?
in terms of dating or just like in
Yeah,
life.
in general. Well, I'll take in life in general, but like anything that stood out to you recently, where you're like, what the hell? What?
Mm, there's a lot of mental health coded ones because I do write a lot about wellness and mental
Yes.
health, and I used to
Yes.
have a mental health podcast. And there's a lot, the pop psychology really freaks me out.
Yeah.
The self diagnosing,
Oh
the
yeah.
overusing of the word boundary, eh, that justification
My
I
trauma.
find frustrating. Yeah.
My trauma. That's why I have boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. That's why no one in my life, everyone just kicks everyone out of their lives.
Oh
Like, it's a boundary. It's a
God.
boundary.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Pop psychology for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, so anything on the dating side or anything on relationship side where you're like, what the what?
Yeah, actually, especially on TikTok, I feel like I hear this narrative quite a bit, and it's
Yeah.
sort of the idea that any sort of conflict automatically means the relationship is doomed over, it's time to leave. Like, there's this level we've, I think, lost in many different layers of of our society. We've lost a level of resilience
Yes.
in a million different ways. Um, and it's you always have to teeter the line when you talk about that because you don't want to sound, like you're like, don't stick it out if it's a horrible dynamic. Of course not.
Yeah.
But there's this level of we're working through something together and we're overcoming something together to get to the other side. And now we have an even stronger foundation. I think that a little bit has become lost in the way that I hear it being spoken about on social media.
If I may say, Gabriella, I just think people are wimps. So they're like, oh, it's hard. It's hard. Eject.
Yeah.
Work is hard. Eject. And you're like, it's work.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
relationship.
Listen,
Like,
I
yeah,
all I
damn
think
it
all
hard.
of us, yeah, we can all confidently say we want a healthy workplace dynamic
Sure.
and a healthy workplace environment.
Sure.
But I learned a lot of things from being pushed really hard at work and having to build a level of tolerance and a level of resilience that I think is just important
Okay,
as
Gabriella.
a life skill.
This is making me think. Okay, so I did a whole. Okay, this is off track big time. Okay,
Go
Kendall,
there.
don't lie to me. Um, I did a whole dissertation on transformational learning and the practice of being uncomfortable, which I did for like 10 plus years. I did wild things, Gabriella. Wild. Like you can look at my blog and everything. Wild. And I love that because now in the day to day, things are just a one and a two because I have done with proactiveness the sevens and eights.
Mm,
And I'm like, at least I'm not in a sweat lodge, practically suffocating for air right now. Like, you're not. So this hard conversation, like this is a two at it, instead of a 10. And so I've been thinking about like, maybe just a book needs to come out on this of just
mm,
how do you actually practice resiliency? Because my God, people are wimps.
mhm. I think it's an important conversation to have for sure.
Oh,
Oh, I love that. I would need to hear more and more about all these things that you that you put yourself in.
Oh, I'll send you the link. So the fun part is like, okay, I have dozens and dozens of these experiences. So that's fun, personal stories and narrative. Okay, fine. But then also now I have the academic side. So
Mhm.
now I covered that side too. Anyway, back to you, Gabriella. What about sources? Like who's like,
Okay.
ooh, I really want to hear of these people, especially like maybe on the health side.
Mm. I mean, always a mental health professional and expert.
Yep.
Always love to hear from a therapist.
Okay.
Um, if we're talking about dating, I mean, I love a dating expert. What does that even mean? Is my
Yeah, what
first
does that
question.
mean?
But
But
like,
yes, what is that?
you know, because obviously there's people that are like, relationship therapists and work in that space, and I find that really fascinating.
Hmm.
Especially like everyone's talking about that show, couples therapy, for
Yes.
people, so I find that really, really interesting.
Yes.
I would say that those are the main experts that I look to, especially when it comes to relationships and sex, because I just find, especially growing up Latina, like there's so much stigma around those types of conversations. And so I think if we're able to destigmatize it in a way where we all have so many questions, like can't we just talk about it in a normal, healthy way? And a lot of times we just don't have the language to do so, and that's why talking to these experts is so important, because
Hmm.
that's the first step, is just getting the language around it.
I know, but some of it is just like, who? How do you really? How do you clarify expert? Do
I
you want
mean,
to
I
put
think
the
if
fancy
it's
name, the fancy letters after the name? But like, can I come to you and be like, Gabriella? Like, guess what? I'm a relationship coach. I
I
went
mean, I
to a
would ask,
seminar one weekend.
well,
Mm.
I'd probably say probably not. In my eyes,
Yes,
if
yes,
I'm
yes, yes.
I would say it's not right for the story. I think if we're looking for just everyday commentary, because usually these types of stories I do sort of look to the public to get
Mhm.
that sort of feedback in those conversations, but it would be cited as such. Um, I mean, I always love a doctor. I love a researcher, um, an academic of
Academic.
some way.
There you go.
Yep, there you
Yep,
go.
yep, yep. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And could you tell us, for those who need to understand this more, with working like with a freelancer, which is different than someone who's in house at at the media, whatever it is, pitching their stories. You have to pitch your story. So how does it work for you? Like you get a pitch, you're like, "Ooh, I like that." Then what happens? You now have to pitch it to Refiner 29. Like, how does that process work for you?
Exactly, yeah. So if I get a pitch inbound into my inbox that I find interesting, or I think, okay, I can put a good, cool spin on this, or I think people need to know about this, then yes, I will go ahead and pitch it out to the publication that I think would be the best fit for it. Typically, it's one of the publications that I've already developed a relationship with, I'm a contributor for. Every now and again, it's like the random one where I'm like, ooh, I think this would be fun there. Never written for them, but like, let's try it out.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, I'll email the editor that I'm in contact with at that publication, and then we'll sort of go from there. I think it oftentimes, this is why a good pitch matters from a publicist or a PR team, because you have to catch, I think, any freelancer on a specific moment of their day where they're down to take a really bad pitch
Mm.
and structure it themselves into something fun and exciting and new. And so I definitely will do that. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not, a lazy girl in that regard, but I think it is really important to structure a pitch to a freelancer where you're understanding the thing or the person or the product that you're even pitching, and providing, if you don't have a really strong angle or a really strong hook, you're at least providing like a couple of different ways that we can look at this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know your goals, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
I can go ahead and spin it in a way that I find it to be interesting, that
Hmm.
I think the people would, the general public would find interesting and the audience of the publication would find interesting. But I want to know what you find interesting and what you think, because you know the product or the person or the thing the most
You
intimately.
sure hope they do. Yes.
Or one would hope. Yeah.
One would help. That always blew my mind, Gabriella, when I would do my travel writing stuff for
Mhm.
as a contributor or whatever. And it's just like I'm a PR person. I'm like not an actual, I'm not a travel and leisure, trying to find these things. And I would get so many publicists like pitching me to go to whatever fancy fabulous resort or something. I'm like, oh yeah, so what do you think about it? Where have you been? They're like, I've never been there. I've never like talked with anyone there. That just blew my mind. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, it's perhaps not cost effective to have But actually, I kind of think it is. If you're a luxury resort and you have your PR team of three, get the three of them out there so that they can touch and feel the actual product.
I agree.
Because how are you pitching it to someone to go to it and then you can't? You're like, oh, I haven't. No, I don't even know what airport is. You're like, what?
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm with you. I am with you on that for sure.
My
It's
God,
frustrating.
it
Yeah.
is. So, what about relationship building with people? You're in LA. Do you want to know any publicists at all, like in
Oh,
person?
yeah. Yeah, for sure. I do. I speaking of boundaries, I have boundaries around it where, I'm not trying to get dinner every night. I'm not trying to do the whole like wine dine, let's get a drink thing. Because I work from home and I'm alone 90% of the time, I do love a face-to-face moment if we can. A coffee, a breakfast, like usually is my thing, or we can get on Zoom, or we can get on a phone call. But I think, especially because my favorite types of stories tend to be profiles or features, or again, like the homeowner is really involved. It's about people. Like I love people and understanding why someone is the way that they are. So because of that, especially if you're talking about celebrities, you're building a relationship with their team and you're building a relationship with the publicist. And so that is a very big part of my job, is that networking aspect.
Mm.
Not just for me as a writer, but for my show as well. Like I am the
Yeah.
talent booker for that
Yes,
as
you
well.
are the talent
So
hunter.
yes.
Ooh, who are you looking for the show, by the way?
So right now we're talking to we have fun people in the pipeline. We've got some good people in the pipeline, but there are definitely some amazing Latino talent out there, whether they're actors or musicians that have so much to say and are just so interesting. We have some bucket list ones that some I'm keeping close to the chest, some I'm
Oh,
throwing out
okay.
there because
Okay,
I'm
well,
like, why not?
let's throw them out there, the ones you feel comfortable with, because this is for publicists.
Yes, I mean,
Okay,
listen,
who do you want?
we're gonna go big. We're gonna go big here. Okay, we're
Right.
gonna go big. I mean, listen, I think Bad Bunny is on the bucket list for
I
so
think
many of us. I mean, what a guy.
I know.
Um, you know who I'm barking up this tree, and I would love because she was such a part of my childhood is Adrienne Bailon. She was
Oh,
in 3LW, Cheetah Girl. We
oh,
love Adrienne Bailon. She's fun. Just had a great career. But there's people like that, Christina Milian, like people that like really were formative in my youth that I'm just like, I would love to explore you, the human being. That's a big part of the show is understanding the human behind the headline and getting to talk to these people just on a person to person level, and allowing us to explore them in a 360 way that, sometimes as Latinos, like you don't really get the opportunity to do. You get hired during Latin Heritage Month or you get to talk about this one thing and like that's kind of it. And
mhm.
regardless is a space for us to just explore all of it.
Yes. Okay. All right, publicist. We heard what you're looking for. Okay. What drives you crazy, Gabrielle?
Mm.
Let's cover that off real quick.
With pitches, like so many things. I'm having flashbacks as I'm thinking about this. Honestly, laziness is something that really bothers me. And so when I get an email from somebody where the font is a bunch of different colors because I could tell that you copy and pasted it, either my name is not included or it's like spelled incorrectly,
Oh yeah.
or my name is the only thing in a different color and it's bolded. I'm like, okay, we didn't copy and paste this correctly. I just think it shows, even if you have the best pitch in the world, I automatically am like, I don't really want to work with you
Yeah.
because it just shows this level of indifference that I find really rude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the opposite? What do you love when you're like,
Mm.
ah,
I love when I can tell, like we talked about earlier, that they really know what they're talking about and in terms of the product, person, thing, whatever. And when you can tell that they also know about me. And I mean this in a very specific way. I don't mean in the way I'm like, oh, I need them to know my work. But if you care about the person, place, products, whatever, you want to attach that story to the right writer and the right journalist. And so if you're coming to me, I would think that it's because you've read similar pieces of mine and you're like, "Oh, this person can really shape the narrative in an interesting way." And that's really important for my client. So whether you're referencing an old article of mine or you're referencing a column that I frequently write for, just to me it signals you care about your client. Again, not because it's me, but because you know who you're trying to talk to. So I now trust that you are really intentional about your job.
yeah. So then I want to pay more attention to you, therefore. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it'll be more fun for me also to if we wanna workshop the idea, because that's a whole other thing, by the way, if we're talking
Mm.
about really quick of things I do not love, listen, again, I'm down to jump on the phone with a publicist, PR person to like, massage this out into a great story. But at the end of the day, like I'm not on your PR team. If you want to pay me a retainer to do that for you, like great, that's a separate conversation we can have. But I'm not going to get on multiple phone calls with you to help you massage out a story that you haven't even thought through with your team.
Yeah. Not
And
a good look.
people try and do that quite
Not a good look.
frequently.
Not a good look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gabriella, is there anything that we can do to promote, highlight, celebrate you? Because, that's what we want to do. Obviously, you got your show. Tell us more.
Yeah, so we've got Irregardless. It's all on YouTube, but you can find me across all social platforms. It's at Gabby, Gabby Ulloa, ULLOA _. You can find Irregardless at
Excellent.
Irregardless Media as well, and on all my platforms. And there, I've got a very nifty link in bio where you can see my Substack newsletter that I send out. You can see all my things in there. So I got a course about how to pitch a story as a freelance writer, so that's in there as well.
Okay.
Everything's in the link in bio. I make it easy for you.
Really, it is. It is. Thank goodness for LinkedIn too. They've been really
Oh, yeah.
working on their stuff. So excellent. Well, Gabriella, thank you so much for being on Coffee with the Journalist today. Such a joy. Such a joy. You can find her in LA. She doesn't want to go to dinner 9 times during the week or 2 weeks. No, but relationships matter.
They do. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Gabriella. We'll see you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Coffee with a Journalist. Do you want to pitch our next guest or ask them a specific question? Head over to our website at onepitch.co to learn more about our private networking community for PR pros and apply to join. We'll see you next week, but until then, start great stories.